Hello, welcome to today's edition of Pegasus Test. On today's edition, we're covering the Igloo Night Vision match of 2025. And we start out here on stage 3 because that was our first stage. And this is the Team America edition because of the malfunctions you're seeing Scott have here. That kind of plagued all of us throughout the night, me especially. So on this stage, you started out in the car. You had a silhouette target right at the end of the hood. You had to engage through the windshield. Then you had to go out the driver's side window and engage a 6-plate rack with your rifle at about 50 meters. And once that is done, you had to exit the car. All of this while it was raining to boot. Exiting car, keeping your muzzle safely downrange, obviously. And then you had this close-up target here. The white one was not a no-shoot. It was a rifle-only target. The other target was pistol-only because this was a two-gun night match. And then you had to engage the other array of plates down there with the rifle. And although you couldn't see it earlier, that array matches the other array. Ditching the rifle, you then took out your pistol, loaded a mag, and then get the close-up silhouette. Then you had a knockdown plate you had to engage. And then there was another series of plates on a double spinner, a Death Star spinner, that had to be engaged. You had a 90-second part time to get all this done. And as you see, the malfunctions just didn't help. Moving on to stage 4, which was our second stage, you were in another car. All engagements with the pistol were inside the car from the back seat. You had an array on each side of the vehicle. They were basically exactly the same. You had a few steels you had to hit, plus some cardboard. And then you had to move through the car once you completed one side and get it a duplicate array on the other side. Moving through the back of that car was very hard with all your gear on. Having your nods on, a helmet on. If you have big old gorilla feet like me, that was a problem. Very confined space, made for an intricate shooting problem. Then you had to ditch your pistol, go to the trunk of the car, retrieve and load your rifle on the clock. And then there was a rifle array downrange you had to engage. Plus there was also a hostage target you had to hit, knock it from one side to the other. And Nick fights through his malfunctions there and then gets on to engaging. Now in the previous stage, Scott was doing active with a laser. Nick here is doing passive aiming with his MP5.
Okay, come on over.
And then once you engaged on one side of the car, you moved to the other side. Also engaged a plate rack down at 50 meters, as you can see right there. Moving on to stage 1, I apologize about the quality of the video here. We had been in rain on stages 3 and 4, and then it stopped and everything fogged up and froze as the temperature dropped. And that just created a bit of a problem with my night vision filming setup, as you see here. So I apologize for the haze. You had 3 long-range targets down at the end of the bay, full-size silhouettes that you had to engage from each side, from each VTAC. You were not required to use the holes on the VTAC. You also had 1 paper target that you had to engage. And then you ditched your rifle, and then you went and it had a pistol array on each side of the bay consisting of 6 required hits on falling steel targets. These are a bit of a challenge to see, not just because the nod here was hazy, but just the light conditions on this particular bay made it, without an illuminator, made it challenge to see those dropping steel targets. But that didn't stop Nick here. He all got it done in under par. Even with a reload there, he still got the job done. Finally, moving on to our last stage of the evening, which was stage 2 of the match. Again, apologizing for the poor video quality. You had an array of 6 plates, like you've seen on the other stages, down at the end of the bay, about 50 meters you had to engage. And you also had a mini IPSC you had to engage through a very narrow window through some barrels. Once you did that, you rushed forward to a series of shooting boxes where you had some paper targets that you had to engage with your long arm. Once you got to the end here, you went ahead and ditched it, switched to your pistol. You had 2 crowd pleasers right there, then some dropping steel. And then on the other side of the bay, you had some dropping steel. And then you had to retrograde, keeping your muzzle down range. Then you had 2 steel targets you had to drop right here. You moved back to the final position. You had 1 steel target to engage on that side, then another steel over on that side. Then you go back and you have a Texas Star you have to get 5 plates off of. And Nick has to go for the reload here. Overall, a very challenging stage. We hope you enjoy this coverage of the Igloo 2025. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and tune in for future night vision videos.